Hi, this is Priya. My goal in this video is to explain Bitcoin and blockchain in a way that is very easy to understand. So first let's understand the terminologies of Bitcoin and blockchain. Bitcoin is a type of cryptocurrency which is nothing but the digital money that is traded over an internet, and the underlying technology that enables moving of digital currency or assets among individuals is blockchain. So blockchain is the technology behind Bitcoin. Bitcoin works on blockchain technology, and Bitcoin and blockchain are not the same as many people presume it, right? So blockchain is a digitized, decentralized public ledger of all cryptocurrency transactions. So, Bitcoin is first among the many cryptocurrencies that are available in the market right now. So, examples of other cryptocurrencies are Ethereum, Litecoin, and there are about 1,000 cryptocurrencies right now. So, Bitcoin is just one of the many cryptocurrencies available. Blockchain is the revolutionary and disruptive technology that is behind the cryptocurrencies. So we have certain problems that we face every day in the current trading system while we are doing financial transactions or business over internet using the current trading system. So that is where the blockchain comes in picture, and it solves these problems that we face every day. So, to understand it much better, let us take an example and see the problems that we are facing today, and how the blockchain is providing the solution to resolve those issues. So, how trading happens using current system. Trade is recorded in a bookkeeping in which transaction details are stored. You can think of it as a ledger. So ledger contains each and every transaction a person does over internet. If a person A sends money to person B, that will be recorded. So each and every transaction that is being performed will be maintained in the ledger. You can consider it as the bookkeeping. So bookkeeping is isolated for each kind of transaction. The transaction could be financial, sales, purchases, etc. Each of this is isolated and they are closed to public. And no one has a view, they will not be able to view this bookkeeping or the ledger of which holds the different types of transactions individuals perform. And for this reason, we have to depend on intermediaries who will have the information about these ledgers or the transactions we perform. So, intermediaries are responsible for maintaining the trust. They will validate the two banking accounts that are involved in the transaction, and they will approve the transactions, right? And with this kind of trading system, we have certain problems. So if we look at with an example, it will be very easy for us to understand. So let's consider this example where person A wants to send $100 to person B. So let's see how trading happens in the current system and the problems that we face while doing this kind of transactions. Say person A is in Canada and say person B is in India. The first thing is person A will initiate the transfer of $100, and for this a trust has to be maintained for the transaction to be successful. So here comes the picture of an intermediary who will verify the transaction or the verification of the banking accounts of both the people who are involved in the transactions. He is a trusted third party or a middleman who is responsible for approving the transactions, right? So with this we have the problem, we have certain problems involved in this kind of trading system. So problem one is that we need to depend on intermediary or bank to do this transaction. because trust has to be there, and trust is created by middle party which will check IDs of those two people and bank accounts and then will approve the transaction. We have we have another problem because we are dependent on the intermediary or the middleman in between. We have to pay the fee, right? A certain fee is involved because we are depending on the intermediary to complete the transactions. So we have another problem where the transfer is not going to complete or take place in seconds or minutes. It takes certain amount of time. There will be delay of hours, and if it is an international transfer, it may take a day or two depending on the destination. So these are the main problems that involved with the current trading system. So to recap, problem one, we have to depend on intermediary or the middleman. So who are these intermediaries? They could be either a bank or a middleman who will approve our transactions for maintaining the trust, and they will charge a fee for approving the transactions. So the problem two is the fee is involved here because we are depending on the intermediary or the middleman. So problem three is transfer is not going to take place immediately. It may take there will be delay of an hour or there will be delay of a day or two depending on the destination. So these are the main three problems that we have while we initiate the transactions using the current trading system. So how and how the blockchain provides that solution to overcome the current issues we are facing. So to understand it, so there are three principles how blockchain address these issues. There are three main principles for addressing these problems that we are facing using the current trading system. So the three basic principles are ledger should be open, ledger should be distributed, ledger should be in sync. These are the three main principles that blockchain technology works on. These are the main principles. So ledger is nothing but the a book. I mean, we spoke about bookkeeping, right? Ledger is similar to that, where each and every transaction will be recorded. Whenever a transaction is taking place, the details of each and every transactions will be noted there. So in the current system, this ledger is closer to the public, but blockchain makes the ledger open. So let's understand each of these three principles in detail to get better knowledge on them. So concept of open ledger. So anyone can see what transactions have taken place when the when the ledger is open to the public, right? So and ledger is not only visible, anyone can also modify this ledger, and each transaction, whenever a transaction is being initiated or transfer has been made, that particular transaction will be added to this ledger. Say for example, person A want to send $5 to person B, and he has initiated the transfer, and this will be added to the ledger. If you notice this, each of this is added in a chain format. Each transaction will be added in a chain format, and all the transactions will be noted in the ledger as an activity, right? An open ledger can be seen by anybody. This open ledger, whoever is participating in the transactions, it is visible by anyone because it is an open ledger, can be seen anybody, and it is also writable. But the problem here is it is also writable, so anyone can go ahead and edit the ledger and give themselves a free money of $100. There is nothing stopping you, right? But how to overcome this issue? This is certainly or definitely a serious issue. A hacker might insert a transaction, a malicious transaction, where he himself assigns $100 or any amount of money for free because this ledger is writable as well. So, how are we going to overcome this issue? This will be solved by our principle 2. Ledger should be distributed. So let's see this with an example. So each and every transaction that has been done is updated in the ledger and it is distributed among all the people that are participating in the transactions, right? So multiple copies of the open ledger will be maintained and there is no central place to store this ledger and there are no intermediaries involved. And we are not only opening the ledger to public, we are also making it a distributed ledger, meaning it is not stored at any central place. And multiple copies of this ledger is maintained by various people and there is no need of middlemen or intermediary, and there is no limit to the number of people who can this ledger be distributed. Anyone can choose to maintain a copy and hence become a miner. So we will talk about mining in a bit, right? So now if someone want to insert any transaction in any of the ledger or the copy he has, it is not possible because we are not just talking about one ledger or two ledgers. It is distributed and various people have these copies and thousands of people will have these copies, and no one or the hacker will not be able to update the false transaction in all the copies, right? Thus we can avoid the problem that we have discussed earlier, right? and and whenever the transaction is taking place, that copy will be already updated in the ledger. We will see how this is being updated in the ledger, right? It is not just simply updated just like that. There is another technology involved behind updating each and every transaction that is being done, that is being added to the ledger every time. So the next principle of this technology is to keep the ledger in sync, right? We have opened the ledger, we have distributed the ledger, and now the copy of ledger is with multiple people. And the main point here is to keep it in sync. All the ledgers should be in sync. And how blockchain is going to achieve it? Let's see. Let's see it now. So this is how the distributed ledger works. If you see the first one, it is a centralized network where a particular intermediary or the middleman or a central authority will hold the ledger and where he will maintain the details of all the transactions. And the next one is decentralized network where the copies will be with certain people where it will be in a decentralized way. And in the distributed network, the nodes are distributed. It is not with a single person. The control is not with a single person or the group. It is being distributed throughout the network. So you will understand it much better in our next slides. So keeping the ledgers in sync. How are we keeping the ledgers in sync? It is very important, right? We are distributing the ledger and all the ledgers should be in sync. Otherwise, there is no point in keeping or in doing the transactions or distributing the ledger. So this is where the concept of mining comes in picture. So miners will maintain each copy at their end of the open ledger. And the main point here is to understand how we will keep all these ledgers in sync. The solution that blockchain provides here is to let miners compete to attach the transaction to the chain. So there will be a lot of transactions that is happening and it is very difficult for a single person to maintain these transactions or to update these transactions in the multiple ledgers that has been already in a distributed network. So there is a concept of mining and the miners will keep the ledger, will keep the copy of ledger, right? And not everyone will be able to add the new transaction to the ledger, right? Only one person will be able to add the transaction to the ledger. So let's now understand how that person will be able to add the transaction. Okay, say for example, person A want to send some amount of money to person B. So the first thing that happens is, so person A will initiate the transfer, right? So there should be someone to validate it. Validation should be very easy because all of the people who are participating in this network will have their copy of ledger, and anyone can see what the account details of the other person or the amount they have in their account, etc. So validation becomes very easy. But how could you find out the key, right? So miners will do two things here. So first is validation, which anyone can do it easily, and next is finding the key. So what is the key here? So let's understand what is the key. To add a transaction to the chain, a unique digital key is needed. And digital key is not a small number, it is a very large number. And there is no formula to find out the key. It is just a trial and error method or a sequential method. And miners will use computational resources to find out the key by using sequential or trial and error methods, right? So whoever is able to find the key first will be the winner. There will be a lot of, it is a distributed network. It is not a monopoly. The control is not with one person. So there will be a lot of miners. Whoever wants to mine can participate, get the copy of a ledger and start mining. And now, whoever is able to find the key first with their computational resources will update the transaction details to the ledger, right? And once he has the key, he should be able to announce the key to the others. And he will once he is the winner, and once his key is working, he will announce that key to the others whoever the distributed ledger is being updated, right? So and by doing this, the winner will get a financial incentives, and other miners will also update their copies and try to win in the next round. But then again, the question pops up in our mind: why should miner add the transaction, or why should other miners update their ledger with new transactions? Right? To answer this, miners can only participate in the next round if the ledger is up to date. If the ledger is not up to date, the miner will not be a valid miner and he will not be able to participate in the next round of the transactions. And it is a distributed network. Winner can be anyone. Whoever finds the key first will be the winner. And if you want to participate in the next round of transaction, he should announce the key and he should keep the ledger in sync, right? Only if he announces the key to the others and if the ledgers are in sync, only then the miners can participate in the next round of transactions. Winner can be anyone and will be equally distributed among the network, right? And to add this transaction to the chain, unique digital key is needed, and that is what the miners will try to get by using computational resources. And to recap what we have learned so far, first we understood what is the Bitcoin and blockchain technology and the problems that we have in the current trading system. So the problem one is we have to depend on intermediaries. Problem two, there is a fee involved because we are depending on intermediaries or middlemen. Problem three, it takes days for the transactions to be completed based on the destination. And how blockchain solves these issues. It mainly works on three principles. Ledger should be open, ledger should be distributed, and ledger should be in sync. So ledger is open to everyone who is participating in these transactions. All the transactions that is been happening on the network will be updated in the ledger, which is open to the public in the chain format. And the ledger is also distributed among all the people. Multiple copies of the open ledger will be maintained. So there is no more dependency of intermediary. Everyone has their own copies of the ledger which hold the transaction details. So how we are keeping the ledgers in sync. This is very important aspect. If the ledgers are not in sync, there is no point opening the ledger to the public or making it a distributed ledger. Only if it is in sync, then only the transactions will be transparent. So this is where the concept of mining comes in picture. So to keep it in sync, there will be a lot of miners participating, and each of them will have the copy of the ledger, right? And it allows to compete. It allows the miners to compete each other to attach the transactions to the chain. And how do they attach the trains? How do they attach the transaction? It is mainly based on two things. They have to validate the transaction, and they have to find out the key. Validation is very simple and anyone can validate it because the ledger is open and it is distributed to all the people. Anyone can get the copy of the ledger. So finding the key is the point here. What is the digital key? It is a unique key which is involved with each and every transaction. So once the transaction is being initiated, all the miners will compete to find out the key based on computational resources or using trial and error methods or sequential methods. It is not, there is no specific program involved to find out the key. It is a trial and error method. So whoever finds the key first will announce the key, and other miners should be updating the ledger. So in this way, the ledgers will be in sync. So only if you announce and only if we add this particular key to the ledger, only then they will be able to participate for mining in the next round. Right? That is the prerequisite. Yeah, I hope this video helps you in getting the basic understanding of Bitcoin and blockchain technology. Thanks for your time.